Clive, thank you. Good evening. Welcome to Friday's Look North. On the programme tonight, making political history. Barnsley's MP Dan Jarvis becomes the first ever elected mayor for South Yorkshire. But what will he actually do?
Day 2 of the Tour de Yorkshire, and just look at the crowds that have gathered at the top of the Cow and Calf in Ilkley. It's the perfect spot for the Tour's first ever summit finish. The view is spectacular, and so is that hill. Even the pro cyclists have said this is a challenging end to the day.
Superstar Sting joins us live in the studio to tell us about The Last Ship, his musical about the demise of shipbuilding on Tyneside.
And it looks like a glorious weekend of weather for the bank holiday and for the rest of the Tour de Yorkshire too. I'll be back later in the programme with all the details.
First tonight, Labour's Dan Jarvis is the first elected mayor for the Sheffield City region. The result was announced this afternoon after voters in Doncaster, Barnsley, Rotherham and Sheffield went to the polls yesterday to choose Yorkshire's first regional mayor. Now, the election has been mired in controversy and political divisions. Our political editor, James Vincent, joins us now. James.
Well, it's been a long old day here at the English Institute of Sport, and I say that because it's been a longer day than maybe Labour expected or certainly wanted, because Dan Jarvis didn't win this election on the first preference votes. We had to count the second preferences in the end. Some might say that's a bit of a failure in a part of the world where we've got 14 Labour MPs and 4 strong Labour councils. But if you count the votes out, he's the overwhelming winner of this job. But it's a job with no money, no power, and he's got to do another job. He's Barnsley MP, of course. So after the bank holiday weekend, it's going to be an interesting first day. This was a race that no one seemed that bothered about. Only 1 in 4 people actually voted, and they made the Labour candidate Dan Jarvis wait. He got there in the end, though.
I therefore declare that Daniel Owen Woolgar Jarvis is duly elected Mayor of Barnsley, Doncaster, Rotherham and Sheffield Combined Authority.
I put it to him that with no money or no powers for this job, voters couldn't really make a proper decision. Candidates couldn't promise anything. It seems like the most ridiculous election of all time.
It has been a confusing election, and we've just elected a mayor who has no new powers, no new budget and doesn't have a salary. I think for me, the reason that I put myself forward was because I wanted to try and draw this together. I think there is an opportunity to make the most of the benefits that devolution can offer. I see a way to do that. I want to work with the 4 leaders of the 4 local authorities. That the responsibility now sits with me, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get on with that job and work closely with the 4 leaders, and let's see if we can't make a success of it here.
How convinced are you that Labour actually want you to do this job? Because they did everything they could to stop you being a candidate. They tried to replace you at the last minute. They tried to stop you from standing. Is Labour actually behind you on this job?
Well, I hope so. I think people know I'm a pretty determined character. The public are behind me now. I think it is a good result that we've achieved here today. I think people have looked at the candidates that were on the ballot paper and they've decided that they want me to do this job. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to work very closely with the local authorities. I think there's an opportunity to move us forward here in South Yorkshire. I think we've got great potential, and I'm really excited about what devolution could do for people here. And I'm going to get on with the job of making that happen.
What about the people of Barnsley? Because you're their MP, you're also their elected mayor as part of South Yorkshire. Surely they'd only want you to do one job, wouldn't they? They want you to be Barnsley MP.
Well, if you look at the results that have come out from Barnsley, I'm really proud of the massive mandate I received from people who voted in Barnsley, who understand that I'm committed to making a success of this. And yes, I will have to balance those responsibilities in the way that a government minister, in the way that a cabinet minister will have to do as well. But I'm utterly committed to making the most of that. Everyone knows how committed I am as a Member of Parliament to Barnsley Central, but they also understand now that I've got an additional responsibility. I take both of those very seriously, and I'm absolutely determined to make a success of it.
So, unite Labour Party, sort out money and power, do 2 jobs. As to-do lists go, that's a big one.
Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
I think Dan Jarvis almost alluded there, James, to the fact it's been a bit of a farce. What will he actually do first, do you think?
Well, this has been an absolutely ridiculous election because all the councils fell out about exactly what this role would be. So there is no role at the moment, there's no salary. So first things first, he's got to get into the office on Tuesday morning, sign on and swear in as the first mayor of the Sheffield City region and work out what he can do. What he wants to do for South Yorkshire isn't really the point at the moment, it's what he can do. He's got to get those 4 leaders of the 4 Labour councils in South Yorkshire round the table, knock some heads together, work out what this job could be, because we should have never been in this position. We should have had this election knowing exactly what the candidates were promising and exactly what voters were voting for.
James, thank you very much indeed. In the local elections, there was little significant change, apart from in Kirklees, where Labour actually gained 2 seats to take overall control of the council for the first time since 1999. Overall, the party has 334 seats, the same as it did 4 years ago. The Conservatives were the only party to make overall gains this time around. They are 11 seats up, taking them to 146. The Lib Dems have lost 6 seats since 2014. They now have 56. There was no change overall for the Greens. They have 13 seats. And UKIP lost 3 places, leaving them with just 3 seats across our region. Kathy Killick has the story of last night.
Kirklees saw the only significant change of the night. No party had overall control before, but Labour gained 2 seats, enough to give them a majority.
We have a lot of really young members who are extremely hard-working and keen and extremely able. And I'm quite confident that the Labour Party is going to go on with the newer younger members we've got. We're a very young party.
Calderdale, by contrast, remains with no party in overall control. In Sheffield, the vote was keenly watched. Would the Labour Council's controversial tree-felling scheme affect the vote? Well, yes and no. Labour lost 4 seats to the Greens and Liberal Democrats, but it wasn't nearly enough to shift Labour from their control of the council.
I was aware that there was a very contentious local issue regarding high-waste trees, and I knew that that would have an impact on the results. And to be perfectly honest, it's as I expected.
I would hope that this sends a strong message to Labour that they do actually now need to actually start listening to residents rather than essentially saying this sort of we know best attitude and ignoring people.
Neighbouring Barnsley was also a Labour hold, while in Leeds all the council seats were up for grabs, opening up the possibility of radical change. But Labour remain in control. The Conservatives and independent candidates gained some ground at the expense of the other parties. It was a similar picture in Wakefield. Some Tory gains, but Labour is still solidly in charge. In Bradford, Labour did better, gaining 3 seats to remain in control. One of those gains was for the former council leader Ian Greenwood, who lost his seat in 2012. Now he's back.
We had a strategy worked out to win the ward, and that strategy worked in the end. I primarily want to serve the people of Bolton and Undercliff as a ward councillor, and that's my initial aim and desire.
Craven and Harrogate councils remain solidly true blue, with Harrogate Conservatives taking 5 seats from the Liberal Democrats. They suffered tonight, along with all the other smaller parties. Local politics in Yorkshire has become more of a 2-horse race. Kathy Killick, BBC Look North.
And if you'd like to know about the results where you are, full details are on the BBC News website. Just click on the politics page, and of course there'll be full analysis of the election results on the Sunday Politics Live on BBC One at 11 o'clock on Sunday. Next tonight, it's day 2 of the Tour de Yorkshire. Spectators have turned out in their thousands as the race made its way through South and West Yorkshire. It finished within the last hour in the spectacular surroundings of the Cow and Calf Rocks in Ilkley. And Amy, lucky girl, is there now.
I am feeling a very lucky girl today, Harry, because of all the tours that we've covered, today has been really special. What a turnout for the end of day 2. And just look at that spectacular view at the top of the Cow and Calf in Ilkley. It's the first ever summit finish for the race. And living in Yorkshire, we're used to the hills, aren't we? But even the pro cyclists who are used to competing in the Pyrenees and in the Alps, they said that this climb was a genuine challenge to end the day. It all started, of course, in Barnsley for the men's and the women's race, and Tanya Arnold was there to catch all the action.
Barnsley was resplendent in the spring sunshine this morning to welcome the women for the second and final day of their tour. When we staged the Tour de France, there was much talk about legacy. It succeeded, and now the women's tour is creating its own legacy.
I think it's really good that awareness is being raised for women cyclists, and it means that people like me can get there's more races and stuff like that, so it's really good.
Well, it's really good to see that women have finally got the Tour de Yorkshire, because they're not in the Tour de France yet. So it's really good to see them getting a chance to do a big race.
How inspiring for you is that?
Yeah, it's really good.
There were plenty of local riders in the field looking forward to taking on very familiar roads.
It's going really close to home and a lot of home support, and yeah, I think the crowd's going to be amazing at the top of Cowan Calf.
And what about the climbs?
Nothing that I'm not used to, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Ahead for these riders, 128 kilometres with climb after climb as they head towards Ilkley and the Tour's first ever summit finish up on the Cowan Calf.
Barnsley gave them a huge cheer to send them on their way, and it wasn't long before they hit their first climb.
As you can see, straight away gaps appearing all the way down the line, even on this climb, even at this early stage.
But it was the back end of the race that was really punishing. First, Cote to Old Pool Bank, which spread the field right out as the break for home began.
It's super lumpy all the way into the final couple of climbs. It's non-stop rolling up and down, so it sort of takes the sting out of your legs before you even get to the climb.
As they headed up the Cowan Calf, there were still several riders in contention.
It was very hard. I didn't really know too much what to expect. I heard it was very hard.
Somehow, with just 500 metres to go, Megan Garnier found the energy to break away and break the other riders.
That was a long, long 500 metres, and it's steep. But again, the crowds here were incredible today, so that really drove me to the line.
It was quite some way to celebrate her 33rd birthday. Tanya Arnold, BBC Look North.
You know, I was amazed at how many people were out here this morning to cheer on the women's race. As Tanya said, it was won by American Megan Garnier, and she said she'd never experienced crowds like it at a finish line. It was also a very proud moment for her teammate and last year's Tour de Yorkshire winner, Lizzie Deigner from Otley. She is a mummy in waiting at the moment, so she wasn't able to compete, but she enjoyed cheering on her team from the sidelines.
I thought it was a phenomenal race, yeah. As a spectator to watch a sporting event, it couldn't have gone much better, really. Action from the gun.
Your home turf, is it strange not riding it?
Yeah, particularly today. I mean, yesterday I was commentating as well, but today, seeing it literally ride through Otley on roads that I ride all the time, I was a little bit jealous.
And won by Megan Garnier, one of your teammates?
Yeah, Megan. It's her birthday today, my American teammate. It's her first win of the season. She's delighted. So as a team, we're delighted as well, obviously.
And she said that she's never experienced crowds like this at a finish. You know what that's like.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. We are spoilt here. We don't get this in Europe. And I'm just incredibly grateful that people here are showing the support for women's cycling as well as men's cycling.
Such a wonderful turnout for women's cycling. 2 days this year, televised women's race. What does this do for women's cycling?
It just means that we're breaking the stereotype, breaking the boundaries that there isn't an audience for women's cycling. There is, and this county is proving that. Obviously, it was a shame that it was a Thursday and a Friday. You know, kids were in school, so it would be nice to push for a 4-day and race over the weekend as well, like the men, because it's clear that there's the appetite for it, I think.
So you're not cycling because you're expecting a baby. What kind of training are you doing at this stage?
My training has slowed down dramatically, but I'm still able to do sort of 2 hours a day, 8 kilometres a day, that sort of distance.
That makes me laugh. 80 kilometres a day is insane.
I mean, I have a lot more rest days than I used to. I eat a lot more than I used to, sleep a lot more than I used to. I'm not the athlete I once was, but I'm definitely trying to keep fit and healthy.
So at what point do you think you'll be back in the saddle and training again for your next race?
I think it's a bit unpredictable the first couple of months after I've given birth, but I would like to be able to say that by Christmas time I should be back out on the roads.
And you've got your sights on Tour de Yorkshire 2019?
Tour de Yorkshire 2019 might be a little bit soon, but certainly the World Championships at the end of the year, yeah.
Well, enjoy being a mummy. It's wonderful, and best of luck for the career after that.
Thank you very much.
What an exciting time she has ahead, both professionally and personally. Well, I guess we should talk a little bit about the men's race, shouldn't we? It finished about an hour ago here at the top of the Cow and Calf, of course, and it was another surprise victor. It was won by Danish rider Magnus Kort Nielsen of Team Astana. In the final 100 metres, he timed his breakaway to perfection to win the second day of the Tour de Yorkshire.
Yeah, it's a nice race. It's third time I'm here. I enjoy it. Enjoy the racing. We saw it took more than an hour before the break went, and we had some hard racing in the beginning and in the climbs, and a solid day. And yeah, when you win, it makes the race always a lot better. But I enjoy being here, and the crowds are fantastic.
Well, this road has been closed all day, but it hasn't stopped thousands of spectators coming up the hill to watch the race, including Tom Pidcock's mum. Now, he is a big name of the future for road cycling. Sonia, how was it watching him come up here at the summit?
Oh, it's been so exciting. Bit of a nerve-wracking day. We've been following the race on the telly down in Ilkley. So pretty nerve-wracking, but just really exciting because we're big cycling fans as well. So it's great to see everybody, not just Tom.
Absolutely, and on your home turf as well.
Ah, yeah, on all these familiar roads. It's just wonderful, and the sun's shining. What more could we want?
Exactly. It feels like we're in the Pyrenees, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's nice in the Pyrenees. Oh, yeah.
Better than the Pyrenees. Thank you, Sonia, and pass our best on to Tom. Some cyclists here who have braved the hill themselves. How was it?
Yeah, it's been a really good day actually. We went out for a big ride beforehand and then braved the hill up here and got to see a really good finish. It was quite exciting.
And from a spectator's point of view, what is the difference to watching a summit finish?
Well, everyone slows down so you can see how hard people are trying, which makes you feel a little bit better about yourself because it's been hard work for you too. So you get to see people rather than just them flashing past. It's just great, and everyone can get behind them and get the noise going. It's fantastic.
Well, you've cycled a bit. You guys have you've had extra baggage by carrying the children up. Well done to you. It's been a great atmosphere up here, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Great day for all the family.
If you have missed the action, then you are missing out. But luckily, there are 2 more days to go and the sun is going to be shining. So take a look. Here's the route. It's the weekend and this should be named Castles and Abbeyleg. It passes 10. From Richmond's Marketplace, it's out towards Leyburn, Northallerton and Thirsk.
The killer, Côte de Sutton Bank. Then historic Helmsley, on to Scarborough. Phew. The end. Well, not quite. An extra loop down the east coast of Filey before the legendary finish at, Scarborough, North Bay.
Grade 1 listed Peace Hall in Halifax is the start of the final day. First of 6 categorised climbs is Hebden Bridge. The cobbles of Haworth are used to those by now. From Bronte Country towards Skipton and Kilnsea Crag.
Côte de Parc Rash will sort the men out from the boys. Anyone got time for a cheeky beer in Massam? Before Pateley Bridge, Otley. Didn't we do that yesterday? And into Leeds for a finish at the Hedgerow, where the Tour de France began our cycling love affair in 2014.
You know, this is becoming such a famous event. A chap over here has travelled all the way from France on his bike to watch the race, and it's very special, isn't it? It's not just the scenery or the crowds that turn out, but it's that carnival feel that you get when you go through the towns and villages. Ilkley is just stunning today. They have decorated to the max, and I know it's been like that across the whole route this morning. In South Yorkshire, there's a village that have been preparing for this day for months. Nicola Rees has been to see how they've made their village picture perfect for the cyclists.
When a world-class cycle race comes to town, you give them a proper Yorkshire welcome. It's stage 2 of the Tour de Yorkshire. Showtime for Elsker near Barnsley.
You've got another peg, Chris.
A lovely carnival feeling, everybody coming together, all the community.
Beautiful community, very proud.
Everywhere you look is just a sea of blue and yellow, pom-poms, ribbons, bunting. It's been months of hard work, but it looks absolutely magical.
Behind the scenes, a team of volunteers has been working round the clock.
In the centre, we could put maybe blooming egg.
decided we'd have a go at making some giant bloomers, comedy bloomers.
Elsecar has a history of welcoming important visitors, and it's this 1912 royal visit that's inspired many of these decorations.
Yeah, 100 years later we're putting a modern spin on things in the village. So everybody's going to be proud when everything's up. It's going to be a sea of colour. Hopefully it'll stop people in the tracks.
It'll be the best village on the route. I'm sure it will. There we are.
As well as the stitching and knitting, there's been painting and drilling.
Right, love, where's about it want to be? Bit lower, just there.
Phil and Vicky Hickling run the local pub. They've been crafting for weeks now, and they're finally ready to look their best.
These are all made out of MDF, and we've actually bought these and painted them ourselves. Can't wait, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to have the prime spot.
And what a prime spot Elsecar turned out to be the day the tour came to town. Nicola Rees, BBC Look North.
Well, the sun is shining. It's been a wonderful family atmosphere here today. Harry, I think I have definitely got the best job of the day. Wish you were here.
Yeah, well, I might just be able to better that in just a couple of minutes' time. I'll tell you a bit more about that later. Let's have a quick look at the cricket. And Yorkshire had a terrible morning, I'm afraid, on day one of their county championship match at Essex. They were all out for just 50 after a disastrous first innings, with Joe Root gone for a golden duck. Essex, though, were skittled out for 142 in reply. And a few moments ago, Yorkshire were 152 for 2 in their second innings. They lead by 60 runs. That would be a very good game to win. Now, if you're a certain age, you'll undoubtedly have had an album by The Police in your vinyl collection. But nowadays, Sting is receiving critical acclaim for a very different reason. His musical, The Last Ship, is inspired by his own childhood experiences and tells the story of a community facing the demise of the shipbuilding industry. It recently set sail on its UK tour and is currently docked at the Leeds Grand. I'm delighted to say Sting is here on the Look North sofa, and we'll talk to him in just a moment. But first, let's just take a brief look at the show, shall we?
When we attacked, strangers would run and hide. When we died, strangers would run and hide their ways. When the last ship
How much of your own life experience is in that musical?
Well, you know, I was born and raised within spitting distance of Swan Hunter's shipyard on Tyneside. And I'd watch thousands of men walk to work every morning. I'd watch the same men walk back home. And as a young kid, you know, my grandfather had been a shipwright, my father built turbines. I thought that would be my destiny. I was determined it wouldn't be. The shipyard was a very terrifying place to me, so I dreamt about being a songwriter and a musician. And then I left my home, but I always was grateful for where I came from. And then I realized that I was ideally suited to tell the story of what happened to that community. Because the underlying theme of the play is what happens to a community when abstract economic theories take out the value of community and they destroy a community.
And how has it been received in the towns that you've played so far?
Hugely well. It resonates with people not just from shipbuilding towns, but from people with industrial history which has been robbed from them. You know what, your dignity, your sense of self is all bound up in what you do and what you make, and everybody resonates with that.
And I suppose that we can sort of have a connection with that as well from our mining industry.
Absolutely.
As well. The same kind of traumas that the shipping industry went under.
I would imagine in Leeds and Yorkshire, York, you would have that resonance. So I've no fears about it at all.
Do you ever get worried though when you're doing something like this, which is completely different to anything you've done before? Were you nervous first night? Are you nervous when you perform in Leeds? And I know you're coming to York in the weeks ahead as well.
There's always a level of anxiety about anything you do in the creative sphere. Even walking on stage and singing my songs, there's a level of anxiety there. But that's important. You know, it's a tightrope walk. But I love it. and I'm confident that I've done the best job I possibly could, and I think people will enjoy it.
And I know people will come there because of who you are and what you are, what you were in the past as well. People don't say, give us another song, do they, when in the middle of it all?
Well, I actually did get on stage one night when one of the actors got sick and the understudy hadn't learnt the song, so they just put me on there and I loved it. Yeah. It doesn't take me much to get on stage.
I bet it doesn't.
I won't be there tonight, but...
It's been a thrill to talk to you, and we wish you all the best. And I know you're coming to York in a few weeks' time as well, and there are tickets available for a couple of more of your performances. Let's move on to the weather, shall we? And Keely is not in the studio with us. She's in another studio. Keely, it's all yours, love.
I can't quite believe, Harry, that the night that Sting comes into the studio and I'm stuck in this cupboard. Honestly, you couldn't make it up. I was just speaking to Sting, actually, and he said he's just back from LA, and I think he may have brought Yorkshire a gift for the weekend because it looks lovely. We've got lots of fine and dry weather, and of course lots of people are interested in that Tour de Yorkshire forecast. Well, tomorrow it looks lovely. Yes, there'll be some areas of cloud like today, but we should see that cloud thin and break. It'll be broken, it'll feel warm, and I think for the finish in Scarborough there will be some decent sunshine. And actually through the weekend we'll see increasing amounts of sunshine. So for stage 4, Halifax to Leeds, it looks even warmer, and I think even brighter too. And if you're not watching the Tour de Yorkshire, but you're spending the weekend in Yorkshire, it looks lovely. Fine and warm, increasing amounts of sunshine as we head through the weekend. And the weather is settled because of this area of high pressure. As it moves northwards, we might just Sunday into Monday get a little bit of coastal mist affecting the direct coastline, but that shouldn't spoil things for most of us. And we've had a very pleasant day today. There's been some areas of cloud you can see from the satellite picture, but plenty of sunshine to take us into this evening, so that cloud has thinned through the day, and it's a really lovely evening out there. And it will continue to be fine, dry and settled overnight. Broken cloud, clear spells and a frost-free night. Temperatures only down to around 7 or 8 degrees. So let's take a little look at those high tide times in Bridlington at 8:25 tomorrow morning. So tomorrow, probably the most cloud tomorrow compared with Sunday and Monday, but still a lovely day, dry and fine. We're dragging air up from the Azores, so it will feel warm, and the cloud will be broken, so there will be some spells of sunshine, around 20 or 21 degrees. And those temperatures will continue to climb through the weekend. So on Sunday, dry and fine, the cloud will be broken with some warm spells of sunshine. And then Monday, probably the sunniest day on Monday. As I say, small fly in the ointment, there might be a little bit of coastal mist, but that shouldn't affect most of us, and the fine weather should last into Tuesday as well. A bit of a breakdown midweek. Harry.
Thanks very much indeed, Keely. So that's it. Every move we make, every breath we take, we'll be watching the Tour de Yorkshire. Sorry about that. Forgive me. Forgive me. Good night.